Larry Shalom. First and foremost, we're going to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, HaKadosh. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who are well. And salutation and much love to y'all came out there pushing out his word in truth and sincerity. Brothers from Great Millstone, Tampa, back with another lesson. Lord's will is edifying. And we're just going to go in the spirit, something we seen on the news earlier. It said crime rates rising in America by double digits. You know, and that's biblical prophecy, all right? Because this place is going to continue to get worse, all right? Because it's the end of it, all right? Just like you seen in ancient Rome when they started coming up against each other. But let me start here in Isaiah 19. In verse 2, it says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians." And the modern day Egyptians are these Babylonians, all right? Or America, all right? Because this is called spiritual Egypt and Sodom. All right, so but the Egyptians, as you see, they've been making division among Americans or the Egyptians, all right, to come up against each other in different ways, whether it be politics, pandemics, marching, whatever the case may be. They have all these different things to bring a division in America. All right, that's in crime rates, as the scriptures say in Matthew, was that 24. It says the love of many shall wax cold, and that's what you're seeing. You know, this was on Fox News, Fox Business, and they showing the crime rates going up. And guess who are they showing? Bunch of niggas breaking into gas stations, burning shit down. You know, of course they started in 2020 when the black BLM protests and riots were happening. But what you see niggas busting into gas stations, stealing blunts. Like brother said, they're not even looking for the water. They're taking White Owls in the with the Dutch Masters in the what they called in the those
cigarettes?
Nah, the cigarettes Newports. Niggas stealing Newports in Dutch Masters, man. But look, that's the shit. And they even showed one clip. It was a woman. They steamrolled over her ass. It was like 8 Jakes in there just steamrolling. They threw her ass in the back and took all the blunts. But you know, so how much more when there's no food? They're doing that for blunts and shit to smoke. Well, soon it's gonna be a time where they ain't gonna be looking for blunts. They're gonna be looking for food, so they're gonna be willing to kill. But all right, so let me finish that up. It's Isaiah 19:2. "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight, every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." You know, so hey, it's happening already, and it's gonna get worse. Right? It's gonna be civil unrest, sedition. Okay, it's going to be chaos everywhere you look. All right, and why? Because for the lack of food, the lack of bread. All right, and all the things that are going on. The stage is already set. The positions are already put. The teams have already been picked, so to say. And now it's turning up. You know the well, how they say the rivalry or the team rivalries. You know how they always beef in the parking lot and shit, and they're fighting in they tailgating and they I'm a Patriots fan, you're a New York Giants fan, where they end up squabbling. Well, that's what's happening, man. And they are already squabbling for fucking simple shit. So imagine when Esau really drops the hammer and puts the squeeze on you niggas, man. Go ahead, though.
This is a book of Nahum, chapter 3. Now let's start at verse 5. Nahum 3, verse 5, it says, "Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, when I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will shew the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame." And you know, who's watching the news, you know, all that stuff's, you know, all over plastered worldwide. You know, that the things that are going on in so-called America, which would be unheard of, you know, however, you know, many years going on back.
You guys are trying to police the world, but look what's going on in America. You know? That's a shameful thing, you know. They put up America likes to show you videos of this is a third world country and look how they act, but look what's going on in America. Shit.
Yeah, I'll read again. Nahum 3 verse 5. "Behold, I am against thee." So the Lord saying He's against this place. "Saith Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will shew the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame." You know, so now everything can be held in-house as far as the things that are going on in so-called America. Because now you have the internet. This news spreads real fast about riots and, you know, looting, and, you know, to now a point they have to address it and talk about on mainstream media, you know, and how much more the prophecies and things like that, chips and again, the end of this world ultimately. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then that's just what they're showing you, man. This is on a mainstream media. But what's really, it's getting worse and worse. Niggas has always been niggas, but now they're actually publicizing this shit. Showing you that America ain't the place that you thought it was. And especially with these inflation rates, things are getting bad, and people are getting desperate. Like the apostles always said, man. I remember hearing that 7 years ago. 8 years ago, when people ain't got nothing to lose, they lose it. And then we actually seeing that happen now, man. People at all time quitting. There's a whole movement of motherfuckers quitting, don't want to work. All right, all kind of division of all kind of things, man. People are divided on damn near everything. And that's ultimately the Lord causing this division, because what a kingdom divided cannot stand. Go ahead.
Yep. Nahum 3 verse 6, it says, "And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock." So again, going to the shame. This kingdom, which is supposed to be like a lady, a woman that's real, fancy, real polite, but this woman's a
virgin. Yeah.
Exactly. Are we gonna
real chaste, quiet. That's what people thought America was. Oh, that's what you want. That's the woman you want right there. Turns out it's a whore, loudmouth bitch, and nobody wants. And it's being manifested, man. It's being made bare. Her skirt is being lifted up. Like, damn, this bitch got a blue waffle down there. It's a nasty bitch. Yep.
Nahum 3 verse 7, it says, "And it shall come to pass that all that look upon thee shall flee from thee."
Yeah, seen that. Getting exposed. You see, you find out the bitch's makeup came off. You see, she got chlamydia and all this shit. You run from that bitch. You're not gonna stick around. So that's what the nations are doing. Except for you fucking niggas and spics. You want this place to go, and that's why you out there stealing blunts and shit. Yeah, these other nations, they're going back to, wherever the hell they came from, man. Or trying to anyway.
Yes, sir. Nahum 3 and 7, it says, "And it shall come to pass that all that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste." And this place being modern day Nineveh. It says, finishing, it says, "Who will be..."
Hey, remember, Nineveh got warned. Yeah. They got right, but they still got destroyed later on. I think maybe 70 years later, something like that, roughly. Yeah. But nonetheless, America's been warned, and it's going to be destroyed. And the only people repenting, as in Nineveh, ancient Nineveh, this time is the elect, though. Only the elect of the Most High, right? The elect of Israel, the remnant, are the ones that are going to repent and be delivered. But everybody else is going to be destroyed. All right?
Finishing verse 7, Nahum 3, it says, "Who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee?" Because ain't nobody going to come to your rescue. All these policies we do going around, like the brother saying, policing the world. And look at your country now. Now you're crying out for help.
Yeah, it's like the home association nigga going around telling everybody in the neighborhood, "Hey, nigga, you got to cut your grass. It's over 2 inches." But this nigga's backyard is fucking jungle. Exactly. He's a fucking hypocrite, Everybody going to hate him. Ain't nobody, and when something happens to him, ain't nobody gonna come to his rescue. Cause he been going around telling everybody what hey, listen, you gotta be this quota and this do that and this home association that. But this nigga, his fence is all falling down. Got tires, fucking rubber, 18-wheeler tires just laying in the yard. But he telling people they gotta cut their grass and shit. And that's America, because ultimately Esau, Edom controls the whole earth. It was given unto him, unto the wicked. But America is the hammer of the earth. Rome, all right, in the reincarnation, the one that polices the earth again, as it did before in ancient Rome. Go ahead. Yeah, Mark. That was it. So let's go to 2nd Esdras 15, and I started verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." And it's already beginning, man. There's war around the earth, all right? There's nations uprising against their governments. There's people fighting amongst themselves, just let alone the government. There's people fighting amongst themselves. And you're seeing that here in America, man. They did a whole segment on it, as we were speaking on earlier, man. On Fox Business. On Fox Business, they talking about crime rates rising double digits, man. Verse 16, it says, "For there shall be sedition among men," which meaning a civil unrest, man. In other words, civil war. All right, an uprising against the government. Okay, and against one another. It says, and invading one another. Yeah, you think in the middle of a civil war where people are bucking up against the government, you think you're gonna be safe? Well, they're gonna remember that little Biden, Kamala Harris little flyer you had in your front yard, or your little Trump Pence sticker on the back of your car. All that was to set you up, because now people know who you trust in, or who you voted for, or whatever. So they're gonna come to your house first. And they're going to band together and attack one another, or invade one another. It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. Right? They're not going to care what the mayor of Tampa got to say, what the governor of Florida got to say, or what the president got to say. People, and that's why, they're pushing this whole thing, and people are distrusting the government with everything that's been happening these last few years. It's because this is prophecy. It says, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So in other words, they're going to take matters in their own hand. Oh, we can't eat? All right, well, I'm going to get my food somehow. And they've been pushing defunding the police. Police are quitting at an all-time high, or killing themselves. So who's going to stop them from taking matters into their own hands? You? Well, you're going to be trying to defend yourself and your family. But they're going to be busting down doors, all right? And they're going to have the government. It's not only going to be a civil war between people. It's going to be the government coming in too. That's why they're arming IRS agents. Because at the same time, they're going to be pushing the market of beasts, World War III. So it's going to be all hell in America. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. We already seen early stages of that with lockdowns and quarantines and whatnot. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So it's going to be bad times. Men are going to be afraid. All right? Being houses destroyed, getting ransacked, militias being formed. Esau's already ready for this. They got their own little groups. They practice a couple times a week. Urban tactics. These ex-military guys and, whatever, they ready to go, man. They know how to go door to door. And the government's going to have their own little militia or teams to be sweeping neighborhoods and whatnot. Cities, downtowns, all that. Verse 19, it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, as we seen on the news earlier. Niggas in the hood, busting they not going to the Whole Foods, they going to the fucking Quickie Mart where Jake is working at. Yeah. And 18 of them niggas stormed the store, and just having no pity, beating up the bitches and taking the White House. It says, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So if they doing this for fucking cigarillos, what are they going to do for when they hungry, man? These niggas, after they left them the Quickie Mart with a fucking 8-year supply of blunts, they could have went to McDonald's after that, or drive through at Wendy's. But when there ain't no food, they're going to be worrying, instead of worrying about what they're going to smoke, they're going to be worrying about what they're going to eat. All right? So this is the time we're in, man. It's going to continue to get worse. This is the time of Jacob's trouble. This is the beginning stages of it. It's begun, but it's like the contractions, It wasn't as bad, but now it's continually getting worse and worse, until the point where it's going to be full-fledged, blown. You're going to have no a doubt that it's Jacob's trouble, You got anything?
Yeah, Jeremiah 51. Read a couple verses from here. Jeremiah 51 and verse 7. It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. When you think about gold, that's a precious substance, So gold, which this kingdom is pretty much plated gold, it sold itself as gold, but going to Daniel's 2nd chapter, this is the iron mixed with miry clay. This is the weakest part of the statue. As far as all the heathen kingdoms go, this is the weakest kingdom of it, right? Going into so-called America, the beast system, NATO, the EU, right? So going into the golden cup, again, the standard was so-called America. These nations looking at so-called America, so-called white men, speaking English, trying to get into his technology, wearing business suits,
trends, yep.
Things like that. Again, the philosophy, democracy, how you run your government. Now the nations have drunken of all that, and now they're mad because they're scratching their head thinking, I took all the advice this man told me to do. Look at my country now; it's in shambles.
And if we continue to go, look, we're gonna end up like them. Which you see what's happening in America. It's through.
Yep. And next verse, Jeremiah 51 verse 8 says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. And how is this place going to suddenly be destroyed? Is this war, World War III, which is according to prophecy, this third war, the third woe, which is going to come quickly, and that's after, shortly after the MOTB is made mandatory. This whole infrastructure, this new world order, digital currency system ran by the elites of Esau and all his conglomerates, his buddies, the elites, these other heathen nations, Moab, and their new world order system. It's all ultimately going to be confounded because the Lord is going to make them fight against each other. That's what we're going into. The nations are mad, and we're going to be moved to shoot missiles. That's the whole end story of so-called America, is thermal missiles, right? And it says take balm from her pain. So all these councils that you got Joe Biden, which it's a big charade, right? But he's pushing these policies, for inflation, pushing policies for all these shortages, and what is it doing? It's all in vain. It's for taxes and all this stuff. It's not doing nothing.
It's ultimately all this shit they're passing, these executive orders and new acts, inflation, this act and this and blah blah. It's all leading to the mark of the beast, man. Exactly. Which is gonna be worldwide, all right. But it's all setting that up, the stage for the crisis that's coming, so they can really push the last push, so to say, before they implement it worldwide, man.
And as it goes into the address, how people are gonna have fully distrust in their government, because here's on the news they're pushing, they're helping. They're not helping.
Yeah. People are seeing it. They're like, man, it's some bullshit. It's all bullshit.
Last one, I'll stop here. Jeremiah 51 verse 9, it says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. It's not going to be healed. Again, it's going into the Roman Empire, modernized.
That was healed. The ancient Roman Empire, the wound was healed, but now it's infected again. It's fucking pus and rot. You got maggots. There's no healing it again. It's already been healed, and now it's terminal.
Exactly.
Yep.
I'll finish it. It says, and let us go, everyone.
So like an incurable wound.
Because all them sins is placed upon them. Jeremiah 51 verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go, everyone, into his own country. And that's what these heathens are saying. They want to get the hell up out of here. Get up out of Dodge. Again, brothers get into it, because they see this place is going nowhere fast. Right? It says, for a judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. So that's why this place is done. We read in Nahum, the Lord, he's against this place because of all this filth. Here it is, we're in the worst case scenario upon earth, and what's being passed, this alphabet agenda stuff. So this place is just waxing worse. So what's the cure for incurable disease is just die, and that's going to be this fire the Lord's bringing upon earth by his judgments,
Yep. So and off on this, even though this was speaking on Israel or Jacob, this applies to Americas now. This is Jeremiah 30 and 12. It says, for thus saith Yahweh, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. There's no balm, right? It says, thou hast no healing medicines. All thy lovers have forgotten thee. So all these people that got rich off America, they fuck America, man. And again, this was first and foremost for Israel, but now this applies to America, man. Our enemies, because remember, since Esau mainly, or which America is the capital of Edom's, is Rome. It says, all thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not, for I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy. And again, this is since they took on our laws. Well, what is that? Deuteronomy 37. Yeah. The curses are befalling them. So now this applies to Esau. It says, I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. And America's sins, Esau's sins have reached the heavens, man. It says, verse 15, why criest thou for thine affliction? Yeah, people are going to be crying out. Oh, what do we do? Why is America going through this? What do you mean? Well, America's the one that went around the world making hell on everybody. And you put hell on the Most High's people, first and foremost.
Yep. And you watch it on television, laughing, people getting blown up. Now you about to get in that same situation,
Yeah, bringing hell on everybody with war. And they would laugh, like brother said, they would laugh at it. Oh, see, look at that. We live in a great country. Now look at you. You got niggas, and not just niggas, Edomites, causing all kind of hell on these streets, man. And it's gonna get a lot worse. It says, thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things unto thee. And there you go, man. The sins of Babylon the Great are never seen before, man. It's all the wickedness that's been seen on the earth times 1,000. All right, Sodom, even the bug out. I was talking to a bug out. He's my mom's boyfriend, or whatever. Even he sees that this place is wicked. Talking about this, he was telling me about swingers and shit. And I was like, what is that? I said, yeah, that sounds like Sodom to me. And he was like, yeah, man. And so I asked him, I was like, what happened to Sodom? He was like, it got burned with fire. I was like, exactly. So we think it's going to happen in America. And he was like, yeah, that's true. So I was like, damn, well, so for the wickedness that's increased on this place, man, what do you think's going to happen, man? The same thing the Lord has done in wicked empires before. Times, just like the wickedness is times 1,000, well, the judgment's going to be times 1,000 for this place, man. That's why you're going to see these sorrows continue to grow in America before the missiles hit, man. Famine. What did Jeremiah 28 naysays what the prophets prophesied about? Famine, wars, what else? Death, destruction, whatever, all of that. And it's going to be the worst ever seen on the planet before. Nothing, ain't going to have nothing on World War I, World War II, and those were meat grinders, man. Millions of people died, not just soldiers, but civilians. Slavery ain't got nothing on what's about to go down. All right, the bubonic plague, which was the pestilence that killed the most people, which was at the end of the Dark Ages. All right, when Jake was losing power. I forgot the exact number, but it was COVID ain't got nothing on the bubonic plague or the black plague. This the numbers that are gonna be dying around the world, but mainly here in America, are nothing. Because remember, there's only 300 million in America. But that all of them niggas, the majority, it's only gonna be a small number to make it out of America. It might not even be 1 million people. Not even shit, to keep it real. Not even 1 million people out of 300 million plus, and so do the calculations, and then all the death that's gonna be going on around worldwide through the world war, famine. Once this war really gets going, because we're seeing the beginning stages of World War III. So it's gonna be overall death and destruction everywhere, man. And unless you got your how about you now shine in your corner, you're finished. You got anything else? No, so hey, with that, Lord's willing, this was edifying. To the hopeful elect, we're gonna give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the elder apostles, great millstone, who rule well, and salutation, much love to you, Akim out there. Shalom.